if we go back to Hindi and talk about it, whether you should be damdar or dildar, then I am a more dildar kind of person.
Hi everyone. On the CEO's Chair today, we have with us Nilesh Sahasrabudhe, India Head and Country Manager of Tieto. Nilesh, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Looking forward to.
Thank you, Nilesh. So Nilesh, starting right off the bat, you've been in the IT industry obviously for over 20 years now. In an industry where the attrition rate is anywhere between 15 to 20%, at least in India, you've managed to be, or you've planned to be with Tieto for over a decade. How did that happen? That is definitely an anomaly.
Yeah, I think there are interesting things about this.
Okay.
In Tieto, I mean, obviously every organization conducts the exit interview, right? In Tieto, we also conduct the stay interviews. I think there are a couple of things. One is the growth of the organization, of the individual, which is very important. The opportunities what you tend to get within the organization, and whether you are empowered enough to take the decisions within the organizations. And that does matters in current organization, because it's not even the matrix, it's like I say that it's a web structures of the organization. Absolutely. Which has been flourishing. My working style has been always that there is enormous amount of curiosity in everything what we do. So you have to be curious about things what you are doing, what's going to come in future, how does it impact us, the readiness, whether you are ready, do you need to change, adapt things differently. So one thing which I look forward to always, and as a trait for success, is curiosity. You have to be curious. Second is obviously in this structures, organizations, like I said, this web-based organizations now, you need to have a collaboration as the very fundamental skill. Because all the innovations and everything for the future will come from the collaborations. Third thing which I see very important as a skill is the empathy. So I think it's not new, it's not rocket science, but somehow the way how we are started using the technology, we are too much focused on these dimensions, and the empathy or empathetic way of working.
Automation and digital concept.
Yes, it somehow is little bit pushed to the wall, and I think it is important that you have to have that approach, that what is empathy and whether your way of working covers and talks about empathy. And that's the third dimension which I see is very important. Fourth obviously is your listening part, whether you are available, whether you are accessible to the organization, because in this large organization setups you will always have these issues that I cannot give an appointment to people that I will meet you after 1 month. I mean, forget about it, it's not going to happen. I think
by the time it's already too late.
Absolutely. So I think the listening is also a very, very important piece. And the last but very important in the current context is, I firmly believe that you need to be an excellent executors. Yeah. So if you are able to execute, putting your own neck first inside, it helps you. So execution capability somehow also is not considered, because we are grown by number of people. So 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, and then there is no someone else who is taking care of it. It is you doing it yourself is something. So I think if you are able to, based on the situation, are able to put all these things in practice, I think, and I am not, as an IT person, not talking about the technology like cloud and NSL. And so these are very fundamental traits of a leader, or how I have survived and my working style.
No, I think that these are very relevant, and these have been relevant for centuries now. These are values, these are behavioral traits that have stood the test of time and work across industries and work across cultures as well.
Absolutely. How I have been carrying out all these things in Tieto specifically is, you have to impart the trust as a leader, because I think you can obviously get the chair, you can obviously have the cabins, you can have top floor on the, but I think that it doesn't matter afterwards once you start working with the team. So you have to first come down to the ground zero with the teams, and which is what I always say, that fine, you have to be humble in everything. And I think if we go back to Hindi and talk about it, whether you should be damdar or dildar, then I am a more dildar kind of person.
So you would listen to everybody
Absolutely.
and probably seek inputs even before you make your decision.
Yeah, and I think that's very important, that whether you agree to them or not is a different issue.
Correct.
But you need to hear them out.
Okay.
You need to have an environment where people are openly talking about the disagreements also, right?
Agreed.
So I always encourage people that talk in lifts loudly, talk on the coffee tables loudly, because there is someone who is listening to it, and talk about the solutions rather than the problems.
Absolutely.
Right? And if we follow that pattern, then actually it helps the organization, and it's not only about when you meet face to face. There has to be a different mechanism in the digital world. So,
but sadly, at least in India, I think that is easier said than done. We are as a culture much more still very hierarchical in nature. People love their corner offices. People love having people wait for them.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I mean, it is a bit of a mismatch, I would say, because you have this younger generation coming in with completely different expectations. Yet you have sort of the old guard holding on to the way that they have grown up and the way that they have been led.
Yeah, I think one of the thing what I have seen right from my previous organization, where I think when it comes to the context, there are these examples of the CEOs. For example, our own company's CEO, I was flying with them. There was a group of people talking to him, and he introduced himself that I work with Tieto. Yeah, rather than, he could have very well said that I am the CEO #1 company in Finland and I am the CEO. I mean, there is nothing wrong and right about it. But these are the examples I pick up. I always keep on observing people, that
the humility
factor of it. And I think this CEO and things will change. You will not be, this is not a permanent position. But as an individual, if you are able to carry yourself, right? I have seen that that has a more chances of success rather than this something which you build around it. So I think I have been sticking to myself as an individual. What you see is what you get, whether I am here, whether I am doing anything else, exactly the same kind of personality and access.
I think that's a great philosophy to have, Nilesh, that you are more than the brand.
Yes.
You are more than your designation.
Yes, absolutely.
You are
because it's not permanent.
It is not
and
permanent.
The sooner you accept it, the better it is for everyone.
That's an amazing philosophy. Thank you so much for sharing.
I think there are two aspects, and everyone has been talking about it. That there is one is customer success, and the second is employee engagement.
True.
So I consider this as the very integral part of the organization. If you are able to engage employees, then actually there is nothing like it. And there are teams in the organization now just focused on doing the employee engagement. And again, it's not only the physical engagement where we are having events or calling them, but there are also digital medias. How do you engage people, right? And the engagement needs to happen from different way. For example, technology is changing very fast, right? So what is organization doing to help these people to learn faster? So we have also launched a concept like learning as a lifestyle. You don't learn, you learn everywhere. Right.
True.
So the platforms needs to be available on your phone when you are traveling.
At your convenience.
At your convenience, right?
Absolutely.
So you have to extend it little bit. Then a lot of people come saying that, okay, fine, we see Google and Microsoft Office and we see Seattle-based these companies, fancy stuff, and I think you can almost sleep and work kind of things, and you get massage and this and that and swimming.
Employee perks.
Absolutely. Then I said like, okay, I think we agree to this, and in Tieto actually we built also a premise which is activity-based. So we are having the full office which is activity based right now. There are different zones based on the type of work what you intend to do. The different way how you engage the employees, because they come here, like a good example is that you don't sleep in your kitchens, right? You have a bedroom, right? So the type of work what you do, you need to change the atmosphere also.
The environment.
And the environment also.
More and more people are spending so much more time at work.
Yes. And then that's required. So there are very different ways, but I consider employee engagement as very key for organizations, and I think customer also looks at this aspect as a very important aspect, because customer always looks at one parameter, which is the trust, right? Whether they can trust the company or the vendor or the supplier, and if
or the individual that
or the individuals they are working with. And if the own organization is not putting and demonstrating this trust factor inside the organization, then we are not going to win more customers.
Absolutely. And just, you know, I had a thought following up on your notes. everybody talks about employer loyalty. Nobody
Yeah.
talks about employee loyalty.
Yeah.
It is as much the responsibility of the individual to give back to the organization
Absolutely.
as it is that the organization should take care of them as well.
Yeah, because I think you also touched upon this productivity aspect of it.
Correct.
Now, by doing all this fantastic stuff, infrastructure, what we are building, we always get the question back that, okay, has the productivity increased? Yeah,
True.
And it is very good question, very fundamental, needs to be asked. And I
Correct.
also pose this question that, has it helped you changing and doing something more? And a lot of people are responding, yeah, I think it's helping us because we are at peace when it comes to looking at things. We are not getting bogged down by the pressure we are having.
Absolutely.
The work-life integration is also something what we have been talking. It does not mean that you work less in office, and it does not mean that you need to put in extra effort or then you are having a luxury that you can go home anytime you want. True. And flexibility in the work and all. But you need to have the right kind of a balance.
True, we are talking about more and more gig economy. The gig economy is taking over.
Absolutely, and then whether the organization's culture is ready for this is a very important question, because we always want that, okay, fine, my team, this person needs to be part of my organization. So I have a philosophy also that in the large organizations, we keep on building the castles. The castles has a philosophy that, okay, fine, it's strong, you cannot break it.
Correct.
It's like you cannot conquer it also. But I have a philosophy of whether you should build or castles or gardens.
Okay.
Yeah. And I am more of a person which is trying to build the gardens, yeah, where it is accessible, it's beautiful, it's you can have your own stuff, you can plant one tree and you see that it's growing. There are people who are able to collaborate and help you doing that. So I'm also trying to put a little bit of different spin to the whole philosophy. We cannot have all the time these robust ways of you cannot penetrate controlling people. You need to be little open up and have a very different philosophy to look at things. I think I'm really proud that we got this achievement also, because it's very important right now when we are working in the diverse organizations. The inclusivity is very important, and Tieto has been putting efforts from this, because we are Nordic by the DNA, and there is a greater focus on this. So now we have to keep on raising the bar and seeing that we do this. On my lady leaders, I had a very fantastic relationship with all this. So when I decided that I should join Tieto, coming from the large organizations, and Tieto at that point of time was like less than 200 people company. So it was a big decision for me. I was looking at it and I was like, okay, I need to restart, love all play. Yeah. And then this lady was there who was a Danish lady coming from it, and she said that I think if you join this organization, in the first interview actually, you can be taking my position also. Yeah, so you can understand that. Wow. In that interview, when I was joining as one of the associate of 200 people organization,
12 years ago.
Yeah, 12 years, 13 years ago.
13 years.
She said that I think you can also. I said like, yeah, I think you can make all kinds of stuff when you are doing the interviews, right? But she did said this, that you can actually one day you can be in my position also. And now I reflect back saying that, okay, maybe she was serious about it. Yeah,
and she probably saw something in you that you didn't see yourself at that time.
I was like, okay, fine, it doesn't matter. You pay me this much amount of money.
Correct.
It's a small organization. I wanted to come out of the big bang and come out. So my working with the female bosses was excellent. Then the another example is I worked with a couple of more bosses in Tieto, and I think I had an excellent, I will say, working relationship with all of them. And there is a fundamental difference in the way how they work also. So usually when you are having female bosses, we are having this kind of, I don't have it, because I have seen my mom also working all the time, right? True. And you always have this, okay, fine, some kind of invisible kind of shield, right?
Correct.
But I never had that, because I have
that you need to behave differently around them.
Yeah, but I never done that, and they were quite open also with me, taking that, okay, fine, give a space. I had given space to them, they had given space to me. I don't think about them as a female bosses. They are just bosses, they are playing their role, I do my role, and I think that's the best way how you can actually probably handle the situation.
No, I think that's a great story, because I don't think women are looking for special treatment or different treatment. Yes. At the end of the day, they're just coming in to do the work, and they want to be treated as everybody, as equal, and they want to be recognized for that as well.
we have been doing many things. I mean, brand, if we talk about in India, when we started about 13 years back, I think the name itself was Tieto, and now I can pronounce it really well because I have been part of the organization, but still people who join us new, they are having this struggle that Tieto means knowledge in Finnish. Yeah, so it's a good word. Yeah.
True.
And now we are putting on efforts to build the brand since last 10 years actually. Our brand, at least in this local region of Pune, is quite well. We have a good network of people because brand cannot be built by just, I mean, just doing the advertisement in the newspaper, putting the mobile vans here and there. We have tried that. But then what we have done, we relied more on the people, the word of mouth. Right? Our, if you say referral, the people who refer us is 37%. Right? So word of mouth. So if you are referring someone, the chances are more that there is a good intention for people to join Tieto, right? So they're proud about it. They want this is a good organization, the right organization. So we focused on people then, and that has worked because I think people talk about Tieto and rather than just only on the social media, they are also extending it, talking to the family, talking to their colleagues, talking to, so the brand was built by the ambassadors. And we have a formal structure in the organization which is part of the management team that there are ambassadors, there are anti-harassment committee, there are people who are having the sports committee. So about 120 people work voluntarily with the leadership team local to make sure that we build this kind of a brand, because there are different avenues, and I see that that is a very fundamental to the way how you scale up the organization, and we will not be like 100,000 people organization. So our DNA will still be very strong on the people centric ways of working. I think I have a little different response to it. I never ever, I mean, I don't want to retire. Yeah, so I think I like my work. It's not like what will I do for the living. Actually, I also want to work for, I mean, not only for the living. Yeah. So that is the way how I define it. It's not only for the living I am going to the office. I like this environment. I like meeting with people. I like the challenges which are thrown to me. And I look at it more from the, I never ever want to retire actually. I want to continue in exactly the same way. But outside this, I also have habit. So if I use Marathi terminology, which you can actually edit it also.
No, I'm sure we have some viewers that understand Marathi.
So I think when it comes to other activities, I also do a lot of riding. So motorbike ride, I'm a heavy rider, so I'm part of many groups. I had been to Leh Ladakh, I do all adventures ride, I do tremendous amount of trekking, hills and mountain climbing and this and that. So I think I do those activities. So I like the environment, I like meeting new people, and you need to have this little other dimension and which keeps you going. Yeah. And what we call in Marathi is Ayushyacha pravasat pravas ha atyavashyak hai.
So focus on the journey as much as the destination itself. I think these are great words and a great legacy for you to leave behind. I hope you never leave Tieto, and you're such a great brand ambassador for them. So thank you so much, Nilesh, for taking the time to be on the CEO's chair.
Thank you very much. I think this was very interesting discussion. Thanks for the time and the opportunity. Look forward for your success also. Thank you, Siddharth.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.